Alright, it is April 12th, 2018, and today we're going to go over 7 quick tips to becoming a better music producer or a beat maker. Alright, so for the first tip, start off simple and master being simple. So, whether you're using drums, you're coming up with melodies, writing lyrics, basically, when you're first starting off, we tend to overcomplicate everything. We tend to, mainly because one, we don't know what we're doing. We don't have much experience, so we're exploring new territory, so it's kind of like cautiously taking each step. All right. 2, we have a lot of ideas and we don't know exactly, we might not have too much of an understanding of composition or song structure, anything of that nature. So we might just jam all these different melodies and harmonies into one thing and overcomplicate it or make it really busy sounding. Or maybe we have a decent amount of sounds, but they're all just competing with each other and fighting. And, again, that still sounds like it's overcomplicating the mix, overcomplicating the song composition. It's not just the mix, it's the composition itself, it's the structure. Sometimes you might spend an hour trying to EQ sounds so they blend better with each other. But a lot of times maybe it's just the composition itself. It's just kind of busy, so you have to compromise or think of a way to go around that and make it work. All right. So with drums, keep it simple at first. Maybe just a hi-hat pattern, a snare pattern, and a kick pattern. And keep it simple as far as the kick hitting on the 1 and the 3, the snare hitting on the 2 and the 4, and then, adjusting the kick variation from there. But if it feels busy, it probably is busy. So just try to be aware of letting the instrumental breathe more. That means there's space between all the sounds hitting, so it's not just so chaotic and all at once. I mean, if you're making heavy metal or something, that's one thing, but if we're talking about making hip-hop beats or indie rock beats or anything like that, dance beats, keep it simple. Less is more a lot of the times. 90% of the time. 99% of the time. Something like that. That's what my gut's telling me. Unless you're purposely trying to add as many sounds as possible. But what happens when you add a lot of sounds, the image of the image in the speaker shrinks, because it's like you have to jam all these layers into this one spectrum of the sound field. It's kind of like having a drawer and you're trying to jam like all these clothes into it. That's the same. The sound is the clothes and the drawer is the speakers. So it's like you're just jamming it, and the clothes is getting compressed more and compressed more because it's getting layered up more. That's the same thing with sound. And so that's just something to keep in mind. The less sounds you use, it's going to sound larger in the speakers. So that goes with melodies too. Maybe try to keep set rules for yourself, just to experiment and develop being able to compose simple melodies and feel happy or confident about it. So it's like, maybe tell yourself, limit yourself to, the melody can only have 3 notes. So, and I'm trying to make a trap song, or a hip hop beat, whatever. How can I make this work? And then so you experiment with the rhythm of the notes that you're hitting. Maybe you just hold out the notes, whole notes. Whatever you choose. But keep it simple, And it goes for drums too, like I said. Kick, snare, hi-hat. And then, the 808. Or you could do a bass line. Now, same with grooves. You don't want to overcomplicate the groove, meaning you don't want to just stop and go all the time. Unless it's like a film score, which, you're kind of composing the music to go along with what's happening in the footage. Well, most other music, especially dance music, you want to go with the feeling of the song. So if the song kind of feels like it should just cut here, then cut there. But it is really cool to keep a constant groove, meaning the drum pattern doesn't change too much. That allows the instruments to groove more in the mix. And because the drums are so constant, your ears tend to tune it out after a while, and allows the other sounds to really take over the mix, especially the vocals. So that's something really cool to think about. Another tip is pick out sounds that complement each other and have a purpose. So, maybe you want something more symphonic, then you want to be picking out sounds that are string related, maybe pizzicato strings with staccato or tremolo. Keep it all in the kind of same family, for instance, and that will create a lot of character. That will create a certain type of vibe, like an epic vibe. If you're, you also want sounds by complementing could also mean contrast. So it's interesting to think about. So if you have a bunch of cool colors, then you could be searching for warm colors. That's going to create vibes. That's going to make it sound interesting. That's going to make it unique. It's going to make it stand out and original. You could also just use the same presets everyone else uses and just try to chase the trends that someone in the industry creates, or you could create your own sound, build a fan base, and make your own trends. All right, so it all takes time and it takes hard work. Another way to get better at producing music and making beats is making sure you're not clipping. So a lot of times I have, when I'm meeting with clients and consultations, they'll show me dope instrumentals, but they're just distorted as hell because everything is in the red. It's clipping. In analog music, that was cool because you would get this cool saturation from the tape when you bleed. But in digital music, when it hits zero and it goes over zero, it just starts to crunch. It adds this nasty kind of hiss sound to you don't even hear it, but it builds up over time. As well, it sounds staticky. The detail's gone. The punch starts to disappear. It actually desensitizes your ears too while you're mixing, because everything is so hot that you don't even realize that it sounds flat because you've been listening to it so loud or whatever. So yeah, I recommend making sure that the signal of everything isn't really going over -10, -12, -10 on your bus. So if you're whatever DAW you're using, look at the individual buses and you'll see the signal. If it's going over zero and then that little red square is on, that means it's hitting red. That's clipping. So every time it goes over that, it's gonna add distortion to the mix, and it's not good. Not in digital music. So you want to make sure that that signal is peaking around maybe -12, -10, all right? Anywhere around there. And that gives you headroom so that when you master it, you can make the song way louder. What else? Same thing. This goes with gain staging. So you have to monitor each plugin that you put in on your inserts. You want to monitor that the signal stays the same passing from one plugin to the next. So if you bypassed all the plugins and you looked at the signal, if it was same peaking around -10, then when you turn on the first plugin, it should still be peaking around -10. When you turn on the second plugin, say it starts dipping around to -12, you have to adjust it so it's back to hitting around -10 and follow suit down until that whatever you're done mixing, it sounds good. But you want to make sure that you have unity between all the plugins. Same thing when what I just mentioned. Same thing when you add like an echo. Maybe the signal dips in volume. You have to compensate that. Maybe putting a free G, which is a insert or like a what's it called, like a bus pretty much. So it's putting on a bus before the actual fader. So pretty cool. What else? Another tip is basically find high quality sounds. High quality sounds will automatically catch the listener's ear more. It will make your mix sound way better. It'll make the song sound more radio ready, presentable. It'll feel better. It'll have more character, more texture, more depth. It'll sound fatter. So basically with fat sounds, what's that mean? It's going to sound big. It's going to sound full. It's going to sound heavy. It's going to take up space in the speaker. That's going to be a fat sound. Same with a punchy sound. It might be a sharp kind of punch. It makes you kind of blink when you hear it. Or it's going to be something that your body feels more. That's going to be a punch. Punch is going to be how quick the attack is. So, and also the release. The release is going to make the drum sound fuller. And so if you can accentuate the release of the drums a little bit, it's going to make it have more character to it. What else? Whatever song that you're working on, doesn't matter what kind of music it is, whatever genre it is, make sure the drums are knocking righteously. So it doesn't matter if the drums are lo-fi, filtered, far back with tons of reverb. Even if you want them to sound like they're in the Grand Canyon, make sure that they still have some type of knock to it. It doesn't have to be powerful, but it has to have substance. It has to have body to it. So that's something cool to think about. Another thing that will make you stand out as a better beat maker and producer is your transitions. You have to develop your ability to make cool transitions. Make your songs go from the verse to the chorus smoothly. You know, whether you add snare rolls or you have like a signature transition synth that you have, like a synth effect, doesn't matter, but be creative. That's what's going to make you stand out from the crowd. Capture a musical feeling. So you hear me say this time and time again, but it's always going to be one of the most important things as a beat maker, music producer, engineer, songwriter, etc. You need to capture a musical feeling. So whether you have a feeling in your mind or you have some type of feeling that you're going through in life, and you can either do that or just that day spontaneously, like, I want to make some feel-good music. You know what I mean? So now you just kind of set a goal, feel good. So now you're going to be searching for stuff that makes you feel like that, you know? Even if you don't really have an idea in your mind what you want, you'll be astonished by what you can find just by fucking around with the keyboard or however, with MIDI, however you make beats. Just messing around. Don't even think about it. Just have fun, let go. And you'll be amazed at what you come up with. And the last one for today is don't fight your imagination. So, you know, this is something I used to deal with when I first started making beats, and I used to be more of a perfectionist, and you know, I found that actually just wasted a bunch of time, and that's all, like, I was chasing an illusion the whole time. So since I've let that go, I feel so free. Basically, don't fighting your imagination means that wherever that feeling leads you, don't resist it. Don't fight it. Just relax into it and then let it take over. Let nature take over as you're making the beat. So if you play the piano, you'll definitely know what I'm talking about if you've been playing for a few years and you're pretty good at improvising. You'll just eventually your mind just turns off and it's just like your hands are doing their own thing, you know? That is letting your imagination just do its thing. And you're not fighting it. The Wu way. So, another thing would be like, you come up with something cool, but then 3 minutes later you just start like, oh, I don't think people are going to like it. You start doubting yourself. All that. That's fighting your imagination, you know? Be a kid when you're making music. Be a kid. Like when you're a kid playing with, you know, toys, whatever it was, you know, you never really, I'm speaking from me personally, but, you know, when I was a kid, I didn't really think about anything else, but I was just in the zone, you know, I was just having fun, and that's what music should be like. It should be like just having fun, not worried about what the outside world, have no concerns with the world, just in your zone, in your own little space, you know, just being a free individual, just making whatever it is you're doing, you know? So, if you're making hip-hop, trap, pop music, R&B, blues, it doesn't really matter, house, don't fight your imagination, just Whatever you come up with, see, even if you're not liking it, don't fight it. Just try to see if you could flip that into something else. Or you can even take a step back, look back, and be like, all right, what if I reverse it? Or what if I throw tons of reverb or I distort it? You know, that's some cool ideas. Be creative. All right, so if you like this video, feel free to give it a like, share, comment, and I will talk to you guys tomorrow.